Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Llewellyn Stadium and your QBL Round 12 Game of the Week between the Gold Coast Rollers and your home team, the Ipswich Force. And what a game we do have for you here this afternoon. My name is Regan Baker, and as always, I'm joined by commentator of the Stars, John Guana, and ex-QBL and a Seaball player, Dan George.
Yeah, Dan, welcome to the Force Stadium here out at Ipswich. Pretty interesting matchup we've got tonight. Ipswich Force sitting on third on the ladder, only 2 losses, taking on a Gold Coast Rollers team that's probably a bit better than their record. They only have the 2 wins, but they've really been battling it out really tough. This is an important game for Ipswich. They need to stay in touch with those teams in front of them, being the Townsville Flames and the Southwest Metro Pirates. Gold Coast wants to spring the upset. They're here to win. Should be an interesting matchup.
No doubt. I think it'll be a great game. And, I mean, the Gold Coast, like you said, their record, based purely off that, you'd think Ipswich are going to come in tonight and win pretty comfortably. But I think from what we've seen from the Gold Coast this year, it's a real danger game for the Ipswich Force, and that if they don't come out and put their best foot forward and they take things for granted a little bit, this Gold Coast Rollers team is very capable of springing an upset. So a big game for both teams. Obviously on the road, the Rollers want to get a win, and Ipswich have to come out and cement home court and take care of business, because this is a dangerous game for them.
Yeah, we're at the tail end of the season, so every game is super important. It's been that way throughout the entire season. Ipswich has a real shot at hosting a home final. This is a winnable game for them. They do have a bit of a tougher stretch heading into those final rounds. They do have a road trip to go up to Rocky and Mackay, 2 tough places to win games. They're just outside the top 2, Ipswich, so this is a must-win for them. Let's talk about Ipswich, though. What do you have to do? I think probably the first 3 to 5 minutes of this game is going to tell us what we're going to see.
No doubt. And if we go back a couple of weeks to when they played the Phoenix from the Sunshine Coast with those 2 great players, and Abby Bishop in particular, I just felt that Ipswich defensively and offensively was so disciplined and ran their stuff and got contributions, from everybody. And I think that's what they'll be expecting, whether it's the Gold Coast Rollers, the Phoenix, Townsville, Mackay, whoever they play, that's the kind of basketball they're going to have to put into place to get wins. And if they do that, from what we've seen, they're every chance of moving up and hosting a final and making some noise in the playoffs.
And, you know, Ipswich has a talent. They're led by Amanda Johnson, recently signed with Sydney in the WNBL. That's a really great result for Amanda Johnson. She's been tremendous in every game we've seen so far this season.
And her hair game is equally as impressive, obviously rocking the pink and blue tonight. But what a great advertisement for our league as well, when you have players from the NBL, WNBL coming back and playing QBL, and then QBL players obviously stepping up and getting that recognition as well. But, I mean, she's been awesome, but it's so great that other people from outside of our league are seeing that too.
Well, we're getting set for the opening tip. And like I said, Dan, to me, I think these opening couple of minutes are going to be really key to see where the Gold Coast and where Ipswich is at heading into this one. It's going to be a great game. I'm really excited to see it. We missed you last night up at the Sunshine Coast, Dan. It's good to have you back in the booth and the Big Three back together again.
It's absolutely great to be back in the Sunshine Coast. What a great chance for you, Johnny, too, to go up and commentate that game, as Ipswich got off to a great start. And it sure looks like their intent and their focus is locked in to begin this game.
Yeah, that's a good basket for them to start. A little too soft for the Rollers' liking, I would imagine. Beatty's going to fire the 3, rattles home. Sorry, that's Sean Woods there hitting the 3. So good answer and response from Gold Coast.
And what we oftentimes see, Johnny, in these games is that the lower teams, so Gold Coast, for example, tonight, can hang around for 2, maybe 3 quarters, but then the class just shines out. So the challenge for the Rollers, in my opinion, this evening, as we see the 3-ball miss from the wing, Amanda Johnson doing what she does best, hitting the offensive glass with an M1 coming up. But I think the Gold Coast have to try and be disciplined for a full 40 minutes. That's the challenge. They can play really well for 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes of the game, but then in the end, the class of Ipswich will show out. Hopefully, for the Rollers' sake, they can put forward a good performance and be consistent across all 4 quarters.
Yeah, I think they'd be disappointed in that one. They did a pretty decent job boxing everyone else out but Johnson, and she, of course, grabs the offensive rebound. And that's going to be a key for me for the Rollers. Can they do a decent enough job on the glass to give themselves an opportunity? And that's a great take there by Carly Patrick, and a nice, strong finish.
Yeah, not very good defense from Johnson either. When she's a machine offensively, got to set the table for her team defensively as well.
Maisie Knight, deep position, gets it out to Mate. Wing 3, off the front of the rim and out. Good job getting on the glass, though, from Gold Coast. Brown's going to fire a wing three. That's a little strong. Offensive rebound, though, to Carline. And it stays with the Gold Coast. Like the action so far, though. Gold Coast looking pretty active to start the game.
They are.
Hewitt has it tipped out of bounds by Maisie Knight, so it's going to stay.
I think they called a pushing foul down there, which
Did
is
they?
a little bit lucky for the Gold Coast, I think. But
Bit tight there.
she was walking the tightrope.
Gintare Maisie Knight gets called for it. Another three-pointer is up, and that's off. Pretty fast pace here from the Rollers to start. Maisie Knight on the wing will fire a three. That rattles home. 7-5 the lead. Looks like we got some Gintare Maisie Knight fans to the next to us here.
We sure do.
Another jump shot. Too strong, tipped around. Carline offensive rebound. Her putback is no good, but she's fouled on the way back up. Let's see who they got with this one. If it's Maisie Knight, that's going to be her second. And it does look like it's going to be Gintare Maisie Knight's second personal foul. That's a tough hit for them. And you see right away Meg Essex checking in for Maisie Knight. Carline misses the first one. Second one is good. So 7-6 the lead here for Ipswich to start. A little bit of pressure here from Gold Coast, setting up a 2-2-1.
I like the mix-up too. V-Dog with the adjustment off that foul shot. I think a bit of pressure is good. Just giving Ipswich a different look.
Carline, nice defensive rebound. We talked a little bit about it on the stream last night, just kind of switching up, giving the opposition a few different looks, kind of keeping them on their toes and not really sure what you want them to do. It's disruptive across the board when you can switch it up.
I think basketball is such a rhythm game, you know. If you can shoot the ball in rhythm, make 2 or 3 shots, you're going to shoot well. If you know what the defense is going to do, eventually get in a nice rhythm against it. So constantly changing it up, different looks, presses, half court, zones, traps, all these different things we can do. I just think the more looks you give a team, the harder it is for them to get into their rhythm, which is obviously good.
It's a 13th foul called against Ipswich here. About 2.5 into the game. Woods dumps it off. Carline through the contact. She gets the offensive rebound. Can't put it back.
Gold Coast are active on the glass, Carline especially, just going to work on the
fantastic on the O boards. Now Patrick fires a three. That rattles home. Gold Coast looking very, very into it to start the game. They're up by 2. Essex going to fire a long 2. That's off. Offensive rebound by Mate. She loses it on the way up. Now Williams three-pointer. That's nothing but net from Georgia Williams. And it's back to a 1-point lead for Ipswich now.
I think she's a very underrated player for this Ipswich team, Johnny, Georgia Williams. We saw her against the Phoenix come in and maybe hit 4 threes in the third quarter and just really broke it open for him, and she does it again there.
And what a nice strong play there from Hewitt, going right through the contact of Johnson.
Doubt. Great finish.
Williams reverses it. They go inside to Essex. Step back jumper is the bottom of the net. It's a free-flowing game, though. Dan, I think kind of favors the Ipswich Force. They're a little bit deeper than the Rollers.
I agree with you.
Don't know if Gold Coast wants to maintain this pretty frenetic pace to start the game. Brown's jumper is too strong. Williams with the defensive rebound. Now she has it and can push. Gets it to Mate. Nearly loses it, recovers. And Ipswich sets their half court. Nice give and go. Johnson can't finish. Somehow grabs the O board. Out to Williams. 3 is up. That one's short. But Farley chases it down. Johnson going to fire a deep three. That hits the front of the rim.
That was really deep, that one.
That's one of those ones where you kind of get the feeling she just wants to get a shot up. She hadn't had one yet.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Georgia Williams steals it, dumps it off for Farley. Good recovery by Brown, but Farley able to finish over the contest. Patrick skips it. Hewitt can't handle it. Carline double team, spins away from it, and finish it. That was
finish.
Looked like it was too strong. It was that little bit of mustard she put on it.
She sure did.
Gold Coast battling down one. Farley has it for Ipswich. She'll step into the foul line jumper. That's a layup for Bree Farley. Long three is out. Back to Patrick. She'll fire from three, and that one rattles home. Patrick's got two. So that set is a catch and set on the feet. She's hit both of them. Maybe off the dribble, maybe try and close out, contest a little bit.
Well, I think she's shown everyone so far that you've got to make her put it on the floor, because if her feet are set, that shot looks good.
Johnson triple teamed. Gets it back. Double now. Step back jump shot is good. That's a nice hit there from Amanda Johnson.
That's a tough shot, and I think if you're the Gold Coast, if she's going to beat you with shots like that, I reckon you tip your hat and you wear it. So that's great defense from the Rollers, but just better offense.
Woods from the wing. That's just way too strong. Can't imagine Coach Van Dongen would be happy with that look. Good pass inside, made to Johnson, finishing with the reverse.
Just smart basketball too. I mean, she had the seal on the other side, and Farley's smart enough to skip past it. Johnson just holds that position. And that's what I was talking about earlier, is really good quality, structured, disciplined basketball that this Ipswich team has shown every time we've seen them this season.
Hewitt's jumper's off. V-Dog's already pacing the sidelines. Essex, top of the key three, rolls in and out, tipped. Brown comes up with it for Gold Coast. It's going to call it jump ball. Possession arrow, I think, favors the Force. There is a timeout taken on the floor, so let's take one as well. 2:35 to go in the first quarter. It's Ipswich up 4 on the Gold Coast Rollers. Your QBL Game of the Week presented to you by Nothing But Net Media. Back with you here at Llewellyn Stadium in Ipswich. The Force holding a slim 4-point lead over the Gold Coast Rollers. Dan, they're doing it with just fundamental basketball, really, from Ipswich.
I reckon that's how you explain it, Johnny. You've summed it up really well, and they come out of that timeout in a press of their own, putting some pressure on this Gold Coast team, who now only have 8 seconds to run some kind of offense. But I mean, the Ipswich Force are playing good quality, disciplined basketball. It's all the way you can say it.
Got to get a shot off. Carline's jumper is way short, but she chases down the O-board. And just a little frantic. You could see Gold Coast a little rattled, made offensive rebound. She'll reset. Made from 3. That's tipped. Johnson layup is good. That's just tenacity right there from Johnson.
Well, I'm watching her, and she's not the tallest player out there. She's not the strongest, or at least she's not the biggest in terms of weight and size, but she just finds a way to get her hand on the rebound every single time. She's a threat on the glass end defensively too. Just uses her body so well.
Another jump ball. Possession favors Ipswich, it looks like. Yes, all right. So McGregor's just checked in, as has Kate Head for Ipswich. They've got Kate Head, McGregor, Rachel Mate, Johnson, and Farley on the court. Johnson's three just off the front of the rim.
Coach George with Ipswich has obviously given these girls lots of confidence. So while they all play disciplined, structured basketball, they all seem to have enormous confidence and a green light just to take a shot whenever they all see it. We saw Rachel Mate before penetrate, got it back, launched a three. Johnson that time launched one, and they're sometimes not the best shot you can get, but I think just the confidence they play with is half the reason why they're doing so well this season. All the girls obviously back each other, and no one's pointing fingers if someone takes a bad shot.
And it is equal opportunity also. There's not really, Johnson is the main player, as McGregor comes in and nails a three. Ipswich now push their lead out to 9 points. But it's really well spread, all the shot opportunities as well for Ipswich.
Well, Johnson might get in foul trouble in a final. She might shoot poorly. You're going to need all these girls to contribute to win a championship, and they show so far in the games we've seen at least that all these players are willing and very capable to contribute at the highest level.
Coach Van Dongen going to go to the bench. Woods taking a seat. Checking in is Georgia Fagan.
Speaking of the bench as well, fellas, I'm not sure who it is. I can't quite see a number, but it looks like one of the Ipswich girls is in a little bit of trouble with a blood nose over on the bench as well. So hopefully that's nothing too serious, and I'm not sure who it is, but hopefully they're back right as rain soon.
Yeah, I think that's Meg Essex. She was asking for a sub before. And here's really nice pressure from Ipswich. Gold Coast in a lot of trouble. Somehow they break it. Fagan has it stripped by Johnson, so it's going to stay with Gold Coast. They've got 3.7 seconds to go in the quarter. Inbounds to Hewitt. She'll step back, fire a three. It's short. That's going to be the end of the first quarter, and Ipswich is going to go into the break up 11. It was a really nice start from Gold Coast, but Ipswich took their best punch and started to pull away towards the end of that quarter.
Well, I think you called it about halfway through that quarter, John, and that up and down pace, whilst the Gold Coast looked good earlier, I think it does play in Ipswich's hands. One, they're a bit deeper, probably a bit more experienced. I think the Gold Coast have to try and slow this game down and grind it out a little bit more if they're going to hang tough with Ipswich for the full 40 minutes.
Well, let's see what they can do in the quarter time break. We'll take a break. We'll come back with some statistics and the second quarter of action here between Ipswich and Gold Coast, live from Llewellyn Stadium, and your QBL Game of the Week presented to you by Nothing But Net Media. Back with you here at Llewellyn Stadium in Ipswich at the quarter time break. The Force up 11 on the Rollers, 27-16. Taking a look at some of the quarter time statistics, Dan, what's jumping out at you?
Well, the Gold Coast Rollers, I think, are giving themselves a chance to stay in this game, hitting the boards, +2 on the offensive glass and +2 overall as well. 6 of 19 from the field, so whilst they're giving themselves plenty of opportunities, just not quite able to capitalise Well, the Ipswich Force are shooting at almost 50% for the game, and that does seem to be playing into their hands really well. One thing that impresses me with this Ipswich team is that whilst they move the ball and they're pretty free with it, they don't turn it over very much. And according to the stats we've got here, they don't have a single turnover in that quarter at all, as opposed to the Gold Coast that have 4. So they're only small things, but when you put it together over a 10-minute quarter, it adds up to a lot. So 0 turnovers, shooting really efficiently just shows that Ipswich play the brand of basketball that they want, and they're imposing their style of play onto this Gold Coast team so far.
And Ipswich giving themselves a pretty nice cushion heading into this second quarter of action. 11 points is definitely not insurmountable, but we'll see if they can continue to ascend. The quarter time almost came at a bad time for Ipswich. Elbow Mater shoots an air ball to start. Patrick has it now. She was pretty good for the Rollers. Gets it into the corner. Beatty puts it on the deck. Now Mater gets it back to Beatty.
There was an air ball. I think Patrick does know.
I thought that looked like it was off in time.
I thought she got it off, but looks like Ipswich would have got the rebound anyway on a missed shot. But it's hard when your team shoots an air ball and you get the rebound. Sometimes you don't realize that the clock doesn't reset as a player. You've got to communicate that.
Another three-pointer there from McGregor. That one's too strong. Johnson, though, saves it, and Mate throws one out of bounds. Ipswich calling for a tip. Looked like it might have hit a Rollers player. Referee see it differently. Tough pass there. Maisie Knight steals it. And here comes McGregor. Nice dish for Johnson to lay it in. Beatty settle things down for Gold Coast. Pass inside. That's just a tough pass to make. Mate recovers, gets it to Johnson. Good pump fake and another strong finish. Ipswich now starting to pull away, up 15.
They're going to need a quick timeout here, the Gold Coast. This pressure from the Ipswich Force is just really disrupting Gold Coast. Vito goes to the bench. They might need a timeout in a minute as well if this pushes out too much further.
So Woods and Brown going to check back in. Also checking in is Obermeyer. So Beatty getting a breather, Fagan and Mater. And there's that 8-second violation. They forgot the ball went at it, got tipped out of bounds. That's just lack of communication there.
Sure is.
Got to see when Kate heading over to the U.S. Wonder how many more games she's got here for Ipswich. I know she said she was leaving before finals. So we only got about 3 more weeks, 3 more rounds of the regular season after tonight.
It's one of those difficult things. Obviously, her school and probably her too, given how excited she'll be to get over there. You want to get there and get settled, get into preseason, maybe do a little bit of summer school. Maybe, who knows? There's lots of options, but on the other hand, you have a team that's looking like every chance of competing for a QBL title, and that does not come around too often. So I'm sure she's a little bit torn, but we'll try and interview her maybe afterwards again and see when she is heading off.
Good jump shot there from McGregor. Johnson, as per usual, doing a little bit of everything for the Force. That was a nice dime from Johnson. And turnovers really creeping into the game here for the Rollers as McGregor with a nice left-handed finish. And there's the timeout from Coach Van Dongen as Ipswich has pushed out to a 19-point lead with 7:25 to go in the half. We'll take a timeout with the timeout on the floor. Ipswich up 35-16 on the Gold Coast. Here in your QBL Game of the Week presented to you by Nothing But Net Media. Back with you at Llewellyn Stadium in Ipswich. It's the Force over the Rollers, 35-16. Second quarter has not been pretty for the Rollers. They're still looking for their first basket, and it's really been turnovers that have killed the Rollers here in the quarter. Ipswich pressure is really causing fits for the Gold Coast.
You summed it up perfectly again, John. Just getting the ball across the halfway line into some kind of offense has been a real challenge, and that, give credit to the Ipswich Force, their defense has been great, but the Gold Coast, after that timeout, hopefully they can get into some kind of rhythm themselves and reward themselves with some buckets here.
Patrick with a nice take, too strong on the layup attempt.
I think Patrick's been really good. Obviously didn't make the bucket that time, but a nice drive. She showed her shot earlier. I think she's shown some good signs for the Rollers.
And she's been far and away the best for the Rollers in the first 2 quarters thus far. So, they haven't really helped themselves defensively much, the Rollers. Really, Ipswich doing everything they want to do as Farley hits a 3 from deep. Lead now 22 for Ipswich. Brown nearly loses it. She recovers. They swing it around the perimeter. Winds up with Woods. Woods, nice pass inside. Hewitt, layup is good. That's the first bucket, and that's better offense from Gold Coast.
I think that's how they have to play. Slow, grind it out, good half-court basketball. And they got themselves a really good shot, and Hewitt did well to finish.
Let's see if they can get a stop on the defensive end. Maisie and Knight going to fire top of the key. It's too strong. Johnson, offensive rebound. Inside, Maisie and Knight, hook shot is off. Hewitt spins in the paint. Layup again is good. Hewitt's been very good as well. That's her 6th point of the night. McGregor loses it out of bounds. They're going to say it went off of Woods. It's going to stay with the Force. Williams checks in for Maisie Knight. Caroline checks in for Gold Coast. Johnson at the elbow picks up her dribble. McGregor, baseline jump shot, too strong. It was a nice move though from McGregor. Now Williams from the top, another 3-pointer from Georgia Williams, and just really beautiful patience from Ipswich.
They're a really impressive team, John. I know some of these northern teams are probably the benchmark in the women's comp over the last few years, other than the Spartans last year, who were unstoppable, obviously. But this year, I know there's some northern teams that are making noise, but this Ipswich team is so impressive. Everyone plays their role. They're disciplined, well coached. They're good to watch.
I think the question mark with this particular Ipswich Forest team is they've dropped their 2 toughest games. So the knock on them is that they're beating teams that they should be beating. Can they take it to that next step and take down a Southwest or a Townsville? What do you think, Dan?
Well, those are 2 very good teams. Southwest, obviously, and what they've done over the last few years, and some of the additions to their roster this season. Townsville, obviously, we know what they do in the women's comp and the men. But all you can do if you're Ipswich is play who's in front of you. And if you only get a chance to play Southwest and Townsville 2, 3, 4 times a year in total, like the other games you have to win, and that's what they do. So I understand what you're saying, but it's hard to be too critical when all they can do is play whoever's on the floor in front of them. But it's the style of play that they put out there that says if they can play this style, then why can't they mix it with those top teams?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. You look at the Ipswich schedule coming up after tonight. Next weekend they have a doubleheader. They take on Southwest at Southwest, and then they have to back up on the Sunday and head up to the North Gold Coast. And that's a really nice team also. The Seahawks are going to be in the finals, and they can take down anybody as well, I think. So, like we said, Ipswich, their run home to the finals is not going to be easy because after next weekend, then they go on that Rockhampton-Mackay double, and then they finish off with this Gold Coast Rollers team down at the Gold Coast in round 15.
Well, that last game you probably pencil in a win based on what we've seen so far tonight. But I think those questions you just asked, next weekend will give you the answers you're after. Going on the road to Southwest against them, that's a fantastic test for the Ipswich Force team. And then backing up against the Seahawks, I agree, who are also probably doing better than some expected this season, showing really good signs as well. I think this Ipswich team, all those questions that people have about them will be answered next weekend.
Well, they're in control at the moment, are the Force. They're up by 17, 41-24. We're under 4 to go in the first half. A little too aggressive there from Obermeyer on the defense. She gets called for the foul. It's the first team foul against the Rollers here in the quarter. Nice pass from Farley. Johnson does a good job recovering it. Essex blocked by Carline. Johnson, though, hustles to recover and then hits the jump shot. When your best player, Dan, exerts the energy and the effort that Johnson has, it's just an excellent sign for you as a group.
Well, it makes it very hard for anyone else not to play hard when your best player is probably the hardest worker on the floor. Great finish.
That was an excellent move there from Carline. But Johnson, she has been, to me, the most impressive player tonight. But just across the board, we see a lot of talent. But to me, she's been probably, for me, one of the most impressive players. I can't say the most impressive player in the women's competition, but she'd certainly be up there. If there was a vote for most valuable player, I would definitely have to consider Amanda Johnson to be up there.
I think so as well, both statistically, but also wins and losses. You spoke a minute ago about the other teams ahead of them and if they can beat them, but if they've only got 2 losses and we're coming into the last month or so of the season, you would think the MVP's got to come from one of those top 3 teams, and Amanda Johnson is clearly Ipswich's leader.
Checking into the game is Tejada.
Three-pointer from Kate Head.
Kate Head rattles home a 3. That was tough there from Kate Head. It's now a 20-point lead for Ipswich. That pass is too strong from Obermeyer. We have exactly 3 minutes to go in the first half. It's a 20-point lead, 46-26 for Ipswich. Bit of zone here from Gold Coast. Carline gets called for the foul on Essex. 13th foul on Ipswich. Beatty and Hewitt getting set to check in for Gold Coast. That's going to be Carline's 3rd, so she's going to get a breather, and then Patrick also getting 1. And also checking in for the Gold Coast is Tegan McWhirter for Brown. So McWhirter getting her first minutes of the evening. Williams from the top of the key again, drains a 3. That's what she does. I mean, the scouting report on Georgia Williams, she's a shooter, and that one just you gave her too much space.
Yeah, that's her 3rd 3 of the night. Just shoots the ball with so much confidence.
Looks like we're going to a timeout.
Foul there on Kate Head. Coach Van Dongen takes the timeout for the Gold Coast, so we'll take one as well. 2:27 to go in the half. It's a 49-26 lead for Ipswich over the Gold Coast. And your QBL Game of the Week presented to you by Nothing But Net Media. Back with you here at Llewellyn Stadium in Ipswich. The Force pulling away here from the Gold Coast, up 23 with 2.5 to go in the first half. coming out of the timeout. Gold Coast looking to chip away into this Ipswich lead. Obermeyer getting to the bucket. A little too strong on the layup attempt, but she's fouled. She'll shoot 2.
Great move. Couldn't quite finish that shot, but really nice aggressive take to the hoop and earn herself 2 foul shots. So good signs out of a timeout for the young Gold Coast team. Don't forget too, I know V-Dog's just taken over this season, but do you remember calling a couple of their games last year, and it was just not a great performance, and they were very, very young and did a lot of work developing these girls last year. So it's not all about wins and losses, but just from a program or an association from last year to now, just such an improved performance. And I mean, some of these girls are going to be really good QBL players.
I agree with you, Dan. I think it's certainly a process, and you can see the growth in spurts from Gold Coast. I don't think we've seen their best 40 minutes in the games that we've covered for Gold Coast this year. But you can see it in areas. You see players like Hewitt coming out, and she's really established herself as a QBL player this season. You look at Obermeyer. Obermeyer really struggled last year, but she's come out and she's proven to be a rotation player in the QBL. So you're seeing that improvement week in and week out, and I think if you're a Gold Coast Rollers fan, you got to stick with this group because they still have a lot more improvement to go, and they have it in them.
Absolutely.
McWhirter has it on the corner. 6 on the shot clock. Someone needs to recognize it. Woods does. Puts on the crossover, gets inside, flips one up. That's a shot clock violation. Williams recovers, though, for Ipswich. Farley skips it cross court. Tejada's 3 is up. It's short. McWhirter now over to Beatty. Going to run a little half court here. Here's Hewitt. Now Obermeyer, she'll fire the 3. That's good there from Obermeyer. That's a nice looking left-handed 3. $20 points, the deficit now for Gold Coast. Head coming off the stagger screen, finds Williams. Now inside to Essex. Layup is too strong. Now Beatty looking to push for Gold Coast. Woods on the wing. Goes inside. Pass is stolen, though, by Essex. Essex read that one well. Up ahead to Tejada. Tejada stripped from behind. Good hustle defense there from Beatty and Woods.
It's great hustle defense. And when you're down 20 points and there's 20 seconds left in the quarter, it's so easy just to give up the layup. But great signs from the Gold Coast girls to get back and prevent that layup and make Ipswich really work hard to finish the quarter here. And I think Gold Coast are into a zone on this out-of-bounds play. Again, just giving Ipswich a different look. So whilst it is unlikely they'll get a win tonight, they're showing lots of great signs here.
Yeah, great active hands there from Woods coming up with the steal. Gold Coast can hold for the final shot of the half. Pass, though, stolen by McGregor. McGregor streaking up court. Nice defense there. Obermeyer turned it over, but she at least hustled back on the defense.
Absolutely.
So 0.4 seconds left. Should say 0.4 of a second left on the clock. Inbound to Mate. Not sure what happened there.
I think Coach George wants a timeout to get a good look here. And again, you might say he's 20 points up. Why would you call a timeout? But they might be in a semi-final and need a bucket to win a game. So good chance for them to work on an out-of-bounds play here.
If you are Coach George, and you are Coach George, just not Coach Brad George, what are you doing in the timeout here? Do you think they have enough to get a jump shot off, or are you going with something at the rim?
I think go something to the rim. I would think, I don't know. Much easier to catch and layup than it is to catch and shoot a deep 2 or a 3. So I'd be trying to get something going to the glass personally.
So you probably insert Johnson maybe on this play?
Maybe. She doesn't have any fouls. So it's a good chance for her to get in there and be a target for an inbound pass. But I'd also drop something for one of the younger girls as well. You're up 20, you're probably going to win. Maybe it's a chance to get someone else involved and feel like a focus point. So he'll have a few options here, but I think maybe someone might set a couple of screens and then dive to the hoop. You might see Johnson, set an up pick and then dive in for a layup. Something like that, but something going towards the bucket to try and get an easy 2 would be where I would be looking.
Well, Ipswich only comes out with 4 players on the floor. So McGregor gets in to pass the ball. You see a bit of tall timber in Essex and Johnson there. Johnson comes off the stagger, throws it up. It doesn't count. I don't know if it would have counted anyway. It looked like it came after the buzzer. But that's the end of the first half, and Ipswich up 20, 49-29. We've said it a bit, though, Dan. Really impressive from Ipswich. Gold Coast came out, started okay, but Ipswich took it and then really started to push away really halfway through that first quarter.
No doubt. I mean, I don't know you can be too critical of the Gold Coast. I think a lot of the praise needs to go to Ipswich and what they've done. And both offensively, they've been really efficient, but defensively, they've been really aggressive and disciplined, and they haven't fouled much. I think they've done a really good job on both ends of the floor.
All right, well, that is the halftime break with Ipswich up 20. We'll take a bit of a break ourselves. We'll come back with some halftime statistics in the second half of action here on your QBL Game of the Week, presented to you by Nothing But Net Media. Welcome back to Llewellyn Stadium in Ipswich as the Force are up big on the Gold Coast Rollers, 49-29. It was all Ipswich in that first half. Taking a look at the statistics, and guess who's leading the way for the Force? It's Amanda Johnson. She's got 14 points, 6 rebounds, 4 of them offensive, also 3 assists. Second leading scorer for the Force. It's a tie between Georgia Williams and Bree Farley. They both have 9 points. Georgia Williams doing it all from deep, 3 of 4 from 3. She also has 2 rebounds and an assist. Ipswich shot 43% from the field, 36% from 3, and they had 14 offensive rebounds. Good opportunity for them to force some turnovers. They've got 18 points off of turnovers, and that was 12 total turnovers from the Gold Coast. You look at the Gold Coast statistics, it's a really even spread. It's Carly Patrick leading the way with 8 points, and then Carline had 7. But Ipswich really just forcing, literally forcing the Gold Coast into a high-paced game and really taking over and stamping their stamp of approval, I guess, on this game. Ipswich running out to that 20-point lead. These, again, I said it at the start of the game, Dan, the start was going to be really important for Gold Coast. It's even more so the start to the second half. I think we'll know within the first few minutes of this half whether Gold Coast has come out to fight or they've already packed their bags for the road trip home.
You're right, but my prediction is they'll come out to fight. I reckon the first 5 minutes will be really good basketball again, and then the challenge for them is to try and sustain that for a little bit longer than they did in the first half.
Shout out to Ryan Taylor, coming to check it out. I need him on the call. He wants on the call. We'll get him out there. So we're getting set for the second half of action here. Both teams coming out with their starting lineup. And a bit of pressure from the Gold Coast to start the second half. It's a really tough matchup for Hewitt guarding Amanda Johnson.
Did a good job, though.
Williams skips it over to Farley. Farley drives baseline. Nice defense. Williams, though, from the wing. The hot shooting continues for Georgia Williams. She's now 4 of 5 from deep. Good use of the fake there from Woods. Fake the pass to make it. It's a good life lesson, too. Fake it to make it.
Sure is.
There's 3 on the shot clock. Carline's going to have to get a shot up. That's a violation. It was an air ball. It was a really nice defensive start, and then offensively, Gold Coast. I don't know if they were aware of the clock. They forced a turnover though. Good energy there from Carline. Patrick with her feet set drains another 3.
Well, she's shown that she can really shoot the ball, Johnny. Her third 3 of the match. I mean, her feet are set. That shot looks good, and I mean, the Gold Coast are coming out with energy here, and good defense again. But just better offense to earn herself 2 foul shots.
Johnson spinning baseline, gets fouled, so she'll go to the line for a couple of shots. And Johnson has only taken 1 free throw so far tonight. She's missed it. Hits that first one, though. Hits them both.
Gives her 16 points for the game.
Skip pass to Hewitt. Now inside to Carline. She's fouled. They're gonna get. Oh no, they got the offensive foul against Carline. That's going to be her 4th personal.
Looks like we have a holding foul on Gold Coast.
That's a tough call. We couldn't really see it from here, but just tough from the point of view that she's been great on the offensive boards, and 4 fouls might see her come out of the game, and that really hurts the Gold Coast's chances of coming back here.
Well, she's got to recognize that she has 4 because Coach Van Dongen's left her on the floor. Mate now getting inside. Nice little floater there from Rachel Mate. And then Mate comes up with the steal, and she's fouled by Brown. Really great energy from Mate also. I think she's one of the unsung heroes for this group. She can do a little bit of everything. She's a really versatile player, can play either guard spot, and we've seen her defend much taller players as well.
She's a very good player, I agree. And there's a few girls on this Ipswich team that you could say that about. I think Farley's one, Georgie Williams we've spoken about, Mate, head off the bench, and they all come in and just play a great role to support the better-known players like Amanda Johnson. But without these other girls, Amanda Johnson's not doing what she's doing. So really balanced attack for Ipswich, which is great to see.
Lead is out to 26 points. And here comes the pressure from Ipswich. They force the steal. Then Williams turns it over, though. She recovers, though. Good hustle there from Georgia Williams. Possession arrow favors the Rollers. Good recovery, though, from Williams after the initial steal and then turnover. She ties it up. Carline double-teamed. And I think Ipswich really focusing on Carline also. Anytime she's gotten a touch in the paint, it's been a double team. Hewitt, baseline jump shot is good. Really confident jump shot there from Hewitt.
Yeah, no doubt. Didn't hesitate at all and knocked it down.
She really hasn't backed down from Johnson one bit on either end of the court. Been really impressed with Kate Hewitt all season long, and particularly tonight. Farley's three is off. Woods comes down with it for Gold Coast. Brown stepped out of bounds.
Looks like we have an out of bounds to Ipswich.
Amazing night. Gonna fire the three. It's off the front of the rim. Johnson tips it to herself. It goes out of bounds off of Amanda Johnson. Here's that pressure again from Ipswich. Carline in a bit of trouble. Puts it on the floor. Stripped by Mason Knight out of bounds. He's going to stay with the Gold Coast with 11 seconds on the shot clock. Don't forget, after the women's matchup, we will be bringing you the men's matchup between the Ipswich Force and the Gold Coast Rollers. That one's going to go against Brown, so Brown picks up the personal. It's the fourth team foul here in the third quarter against Gold Coast. One more and they'll be in the penalty, and Ipswich will be shooting free throws.
Early get into the bonus too, Johnny. 6 minutes left. The foul count's 4-0, but you know, the hater might say that's home court advantage, but I just think Ipswich are playing really disciplined defense as well, and playing good D without fouling, which is a skill.
Brown misses the three, tipped around. Hewitt knocks it out off of the feet of Georgia Williams. Checking into the game for the Gold Coast. It's number 5, Opal Mater. Carline's going to get a breather. Mater comes out firing. Can't hit the bucket, but she's fouled. That men's game coming up could be a pretty high-scoring affair, Dan.
It definitely could be, and I saw the highlights that you put together of the Ipswich versus Gladstone game of Cole Harvey going for 46 or so. Give Cole Harvey credit, but Gladstone's defense did not look too intense. And so if that's what the Gold Coast bring tonight, that's going to be a high-scoring match.
I'm certainly anticipating at least one, if not both of those teams hitting triple figures. Mater goes 1 of 2. And Gold Coast comes out with their own pressure. Ipswich runs the breaker to perfection. But there's a little miscommunication. Maisie Knight and Johnson not on the same page there. Woods picks up her dribble, trying to find Hewitt. Goes out of bounds off of the hands of Woods. A lot of pressure there from Rachel Mate.
Great defense from Rachel Mate, and it's just like I saw in the first quarter. The Gold Coast come out and play pretty good basketball, but just starting to see some signs of frustration again as Ipswich's class just seems to continue to rise up as this game goes on.
Good rip there by Georgia Williams. No help defense from the Gold Coast, and it's an easy layup for Williams. Then a steal by Johnson. Johnson showing off the handle. She's going to fire the wing three. Now Mater looking inside for Hewitt. A little too strong. Hewitt in a bit of trouble now on the baseline. Woods out to Brown. Good ball movement here. Patrick, corner three is short. And it's knocked out of bounds by Hewitt. Kate Hay and Meg Essex checking in for Rachel Mate and Bree Farley. 5 minutes to go in the third. It's a 60-35 lead for Ipswich. Kate Head wants the horn set. Looking inside. It's a forced pass and a turnover. Hewitt has it. Now Williams just absolutely rips it out of the hands of Hewitt. Streaks down the court and finishes with the left hand. Williams has been fantastic tonight. She's got 16 to lead all scorers in the game.
She has been awesome tonight. Shot the three ball, played great defense. Got to the lane in the last couple of possessions. She's done a bit of everything tonight.
Mater's three, it hits nothing but the bottom of net. It's a good hit there by Opal Mater. Kate Head heading off to Kennesaw State, just outside of Atlanta, Georgia. Really excited for Kate, that next step in her basketball career. Maisie Knight, skip pass. No communication there from Ipswich. That's a shot clock violation. Look at Johnson really trying to fire up the troops, keep them into it. A lot of talk there from Amanda Johnson. Trying to fire her teammates up. You'd think they were down. They're up 24. Johnson, nice pass there from Williams, and she finishes with the layup. That's a good look there, and it's a simple give and go, really, Dan.
That's all it is, and Amanda Johnson can shoot the three. We've seen her take a few tonight. I'm sure she's made one, but the defense has to respect her, so she shot fakes, kicks it to the wing as we see her gamble on defense. And then she just either cuts for a layup or she goes and post up, and it's simple basketball. They execute it so well.
Here comes Johnson now, looking inside. Maisie Knight takes it out to the wing. They work it around to Head. Now Williams. Triple team from the Gold Coast. Essex got to fire the jump shot. It's too strong. Woods gets it over to Patrick. Patrick from deep. Short. Hewitt offensive rebound. Put back. Doesn't fall. Kate Head picks up her dribble. Pass a little too low and far for Johnson. Both teams going to the bench. McGregor checking in, as is Fagan and Beatty for the Gold Coast. Well-deserved breather there for Amanda Johnson. Got about 2 minutes to go in the third, and the Force up 26. Hewitt, nice catch and rip, picks up her dribble. Skip past Mater, baseline jump shot is short. Now Head's pass is nearly stolen by the Beatty. But McGregor gets it to Williams. Baseline jump shot is good. Georgia Williams shooting a ridiculous 7 of 8 from the field. 5 of them.
Not easy shots, I was about to say. It's not 8 layups.
She's 4 of 5 from 3. As Obermeyer misses the wild one. Williams gets it out. Kate Head's going to fire the wing 3, and that's good as well. Lead out to 31 for Ipswich.
You know, I was just about to say the Gold Coast got down 20 in that second quarter, but done a great job of keeping it at about the 20-point mark. They've stayed close, but just these last couple of possessions, it's blown out a little bit more.
Yeah, it's now he throws threes. It was really a tied quarter. Beatty can't get that one to roll. It goes in and out. It's a 17-9 third quarter lead for Ipswich. Mazianite's open, wing 3. Rattles home from Mazianite. 34 points now the lead for Ippy. Obermeyer on the wing. 10 seconds to go. Goes inside for Hewitt. Hewitt working on Kate Head. Gets the layup to fall. Excuse me, it's Hewitt. Yeah, that's Hewitt. Ipswich going to hold for the final shot of the quarter. Head wants the Essex screen. She gets it, picks up her dribble. Now McGregor from 3. That one touched the bottom of the net and came out. That's the end of the third quarter. It's a 32-point lead for Ipswich. Gold Coast again, and a couple good moments there, but Ipswich really just too strong for them, and especially towards that back end of the quarter.
Well, the Gold Coast, like we saw in the first quarter, again came out and showed some really good signs in that third period, but I think Ipswich's class in their depth, in their discipline, just shone through again in the last few minutes of the third quarter. They blew that lead out. Now was 32 points now, so really good signs from Ipswich. They weathered the storm and continue to play well, but the Gold Coast also have a lot of good things happening at their end, but it's just that consistency that they're lacking a little bit of.
Well, we'll see what happens here as we head into the quarter time break. It's a 32-point lead. We'll come up with the final quarter of action after we take a quick timeout here from Llewellyn Stadium in Ipswich as your QBL Game of the Week presented to you by Nothing But Net Media. Back with you here at Llewellyn Stadium in Ipswich, heading into the fourth quarter of action. Ipswich with a very comfortable 32-point lead, 72-40 over the Gold Coast Rollers. It was a good start to the third for Gold Coast. They're going to look to start strong. McGregor along the baseline, hits a long two. That's really nice, confident jump shot there from McGregor. Dan, I know you're looking at the statistics. What's jumping out at you as we head into this start of the fourth quarter?
Well, it's much of the same from what we spoke about after the first quarter, John, in that Ipswich are doing a pretty good job taking care of the ball, just the 9 turnovers of the game compared to 20 assists, so they're sharing it around really well. I mean, they're rebounding the ball, 12 offensive rebounds for the Gold Coast, 14 for Ipswich. But the Gold Coast, as we've seen from watching the coverage, just turning the ball over a little bit too much to be competitive tonight with 20 turnovers through 3 quarters. That's a high rate, which Coach Van Dongen wanted them to clean up, but it's also a result of Ipswich's defense. They've played really well on that end of the floor, but I mean, Ipswich are taking more shots. They're shooting at a higher percentage. They're rebounding better. They're looking after the ball better. None of those things by huge amounts, but just a little bit across the board adds up to a pretty big lead, and that's what we can see.
Yeah, super efficient. Really tough catch there from Johnson and the finish. Fagan, open three, hits the back of the rim. Now Carline with an offensive rebound, gets it out to Mater. Long two is short, and Essex with another rebound. Amanda Johnson gets it out. Essex from the free throw line. No good.
I mean, Essex has not shot well tonight, 1 of 7 before that attempt, but that jump shot looks really nice, and I think if you're the coach, you want to encourage that because she spaces the floor out so well when you have a taller player that can be a threat from mid-range like that. So hopefully she does not let a few misses deter her, and she just keeps faith in herself and keeps shooting the ball.
Good work on the offensive glass there from Carline. Leads to a foul on Ipswich, and Carline will go to the free throw line for 2 shots. McGregor gets called for the reach-in foul, and Carline's going to go to the free throw line, where she is 1 of 2 so far tonight. Don't forget, we will have the men's game as the Gold Coast Rollers take on the Ipswich Force. We'll have that game for you shortly after the conclusion of this women's matchup.
She makes the second one.
Carline hits the second. 76-41 the lead for Ipswich. Got 8 minutes to go in the game. Essex looking for Johnson, turns it over. Carline gets inside. Nice little hook shot. It's too strong.
That was a really nice move, though. Just couldn't quite make the shot, but good aggressive move from Carline. He's played pretty well with 4 fouls.
You're looking at the statistics for Carline. She's got 7 offensive rebounds tonight. Johnson gets it out to McGregor. Another baseline jump shot is true for McGregor. She's really shot the ball well the few times we've been here in Ipswich as well.
She sure has.
Pretty versatile player as well. Mater, foul from behind by McGregor. That's McGregor's third. It's the second team foul on the quarter for Ipswich.
Entering the game for Gold Coast.
McGuire checking in for Mater. Coach Van Dongen using his full squad tonight. Everyone's got a few minutes. Fagan inside, good step through from Carline. She can't finish though. Now McGregor pushing the ball up court. Head, nice layup there from Kate Head.
Very nice finish, John. That's a tough move. Going away from the hoop like that with a little hook shot almost off the glass. That's a great finish.
Obermeyer nearly lost it. Now Carline has it. Turnaround jump shot is off the back of the rim. McGregor looking inside. Good hands there from Carline. Beatty has it. Loses it out of bounds.
Out of bounds to Ipswich. So entering the game for Ipswich is number 4, Rachel Mate.
Rachel Mate back on the court, as is Georgia Williams for Ipswich. Maisie Knight back on as well. Woods back on the court for Gold Coast. They're in a bit of a zone here, Gold Coast. Pass tipped by Carline. McWhirter comes up with it, but she has her pocket picked by Johnson.
Great hands from Johnson, really good. Just defensively aware. Got herself an easy 2.
Woods, step back jump shot, too strong. Knocked out of bounds by Carline.
Ball is going to Ipswich. 5:49 until the game is over.
Mate gets it back inside for Johnson, working harder along the baseline. Good block there by Carline. Johnson gets called for the travel.
So entering the game for Gold Coast, number 13, Carly, Patrick, and number 10, Kate
Hewitt back in, as is Patrick for the Rollers. Ippy sticking with this group as well. Good break there, and Carline finishes. Really nice press break there from the Gold Coast Rollers.
That's a little bit what we've spoken about, John. They showed glimpses of being really good, and I think that just shows that if they can just stick with these girls and just keep some faith in them over the next 12, 18 months, they'll become a really good team.
Maisie Knight gonna fire another three. It's too strong. Patrick working off of the Carline screen. Now Woods throws up a wild one, can't get it to fall. Georgia Williams on the baseline hits another one. The jump shot's like a layup for Georgia Williams tonight.
Sure is. Even the last couple of games we've seen her play was like this against the Phoenix too, just did not miss.
McWhirter, they're gonna fire a three. Maisie and I with the defensive rebound. Mate skips it, head, good hesitation dribble. They work it around to Georgia Williams, wing three. Only her second miss of the night.
We jinxed her.
It was a good look. I was getting the call all loaded up. Steal from Ipswich. Mate beats the defense down the court for the layup. Hewitt over to Carline. Carline throws up a hook shot that's short. Head kicks it out head. Mate lost it though. That's a backcourt violation. So we've got 3:35 to go in the game. It's a doubling up here from Ipswich on the Rollers. Woods loses it on the way up. Johnson showing off the handles. Good hands there by Carline. Knocking it out of bounds off the hands, the foot of Maisie Knight.
Entering the game for Ipswich, Cassie Pillane.
Cassie Pillane in for the force.
All right, Ipswich, we have 3 minutes.
And it looks like Amanda Johnson's night is finished. It was a very good performance again from Johnson. 22 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, a few steals as well in there.
And she was really good defensively too, John. So another good performance from her, as it has been from all of these Ipswich girls tonight.
Block on Pillane. It's going to put Carline at the free throw line for a couple more shots. The Force have 3 players in double figures at the moment. Amanda Johnson Knight's probably finished. She's got 22 to top all scorers. Georgia Williams with 20. And then Catherine McGregor has got 11 points. McGregor was really good tonight also.
She was very, very good.
All righty. Entering the game for Gold Coast, number 7, Dana Brown.
Dana Brown back in for the Rollers. And Sean Wood's going to get a breather.
We have 2:54 left.
Gold Coast going to pick it up full court. Georgia Williams from the corner. It's a little strong.
Great defensive rebound from Alicia.
Kate Hewitt skips it up to Patrick. Patrick skips across court. McWhirter nearly put it up. Carline's jump shot is too strong, and then she picks up her 5th personal. That's going to be the night for Carline. So Alicia Carline going to finish with a stat line, 12 points, 13 rebounds, 7 of them offensive, 3 assists, 3 steals, and a couple of blocks.
And she picked up her 4th foul with about 8 minutes left in the 3rd quarter, so to last until 2 minutes in the ball game is a pretty good effort. And she was really good tonight. I think one of the main positives for the Gold Coast team, energy on offense, good defense, got her teammates involved as the stats show. So a good night's work for her, although I'm sure she'll be disappointed with and frustrated with the scoreline.
Beatty checking in for Patrick. So Emily Tejada on the court for Ipswich, as is Talija Manamaluga. Also got Poulain out there. And you've got number 13, Brooklyn Betham. So everyone getting an opportunity tonight for the Force with this big lead. Manamaluga dishes it off for Mate to finish strong.
Great assist from Telesia.
88-45 the score. Don't forget, folks, after this one, we will have the men's matchup between the Ipswich Force and the Gold Coast Rollers. We'll have a quick break in between the action, and we'll come back with the men's game. A lot of contact there. That one's going to go against Cassie Poulain. That's the 15th foul against Ipswich, so it should be free throws for the Gold Coast. So McWhirter at the free throw line. These are our first shots from the charity stripe tonight.
Just a little to the left. She's good on the second one.
1 of 2 from McWhirter. Minute 30 now left in the game. Mate throws one up. It's too strong. Fight for the rebound. Foul against Mate. So that should be free throws again now for Hewitt.
Actually, that was a holding foul on Rachel May. So it's going to be side out to Gold Coast. Oh, no. It's 2-shot bonus.
Yeah, they're in the penalty. So Hewitt thought she was getting a breather, but she's got to shoot her free throws first.
So heading to the line to shoot 2.
If you're Hewitt, you make one of maybe make the first, miss the second, so you can't sub out.
That's a good strategy.
Maximize your time on the court. Only a minute 20 left. Maybe you want out. Maybe.
I reckon you want to stay on the floor as long as you possibly can.
Oh, she hits them both. So.
Unselfish.
He wants to give Obermeyer the opportunity to get back on the court. Gold Coast playing it out to the end here. Manamaluga goes inside. Layup is missed by Betham, and then she steps out of bounds. So Brooklyn Betham, named after my birthplace. Good old Brooklyn, New York.
One of the greatest places on earth, Brooklyn, New York.
The 5 boroughs, baby.
From Brooklyn, New York to Ipswich, just calling the game all over the world, John.
That's it. Pitbull claims to be Mr. International, but I think it's really me, Dave. Dan, I called you Dave.
Oh, my God.
That's a real brain fart there for me. Foul inside. That one's going to go against McWhirter.
Where is Dave, by the way?
I don't know, man. He told me he was going to be here. He might not make it. Who knows? Maybe he forgot where Ipswich is. Poulain's going to step outside. Jump shot short. Manamaluga going to fire it deep on. That's off to the side. It goes out of bounds. 30 seconds to go. Then we should probably talk, though. Really impressive performance. We did say Ipswich was going to want to come out and win this one and really stamp themselves as a contender. I know you think they are, but what's going to be the key for Ipswich to really finish this season strong? They got a huge game next weekend against the Pirates.
Well, I think in the games we've seen recently against both the Phoenix and tonight against the Gold Coast, they've played a really consistent, disciplined, you know, I forget the word you use, John, but equal opportunity type basketball brand. And I think the challenge is, can you do that against the Southwest defenses, the Townsville defenses, these better teams in the league? But if they play the kind of basketball that they've been playing lately, they can mix with anybody. But obviously, when you play the better team, that's a harder thing to impose your will on compared to the lower likes like tonight with the Gold Coast.
And unfortunately for the Gold Coast, it just wasn't there tonight. Like you said, they did have their moments. They just need to really cop this one on the chin and move on to next week. Taking a look at the statistics, as it is a final score of 90-48 for the Force over the Rollers, leading the way for Ipswich, as she has all season. Amanda Johnson, 22 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals. Georgia Williams was awesome tonight for the Force, 20 points on 8 of 11 shooting, 4 of 7 from 3. She also had 2 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 steals. And also in double figures was Catherine McGregor, 11 points for Ipswich. They shot 45% from the field. They forced Gold Coast into 25 turnovers, which they converted into 29 points, 42 points in the paint. They ripped off a 20-0 run at one point, Ipswich, to really cement themselves with a win tonight. For Gold Coast, well-balanced attack in there, 48 points. Carline finished with 12, as did Hewitt, and then Patrick had 11. But they only shot 24% from the field, 26% from 3. They did get to the free throw line 16 times and they hit 10 shots. They did have 50 rebounds, and they did a good job on the offensive glass with 16 offensive rebounds. But I think turnovers really hurt the Gold Coast. But it was a really dominant performance from Ipswich. They took that strong start from the Gold Coast, they wore it, and then they ran away with it, Dan.
What a great summary. Not a lot more to add. The Ipswich Force were really impressive and showed why they're one of the top teams in the women's competition. But the Gold Coast equally can't be too upset despite the scoreline. I think they showed that if they can just keep developing and stay confident in this team, that they will become a lot better each year. And they've got things they can build on as well, which is positive. So a good night from both clubs, but Ipswich Force obviously a level above.
They definitely were. So that about wraps it up for us here. The men's game doesn't tip off for about another half an hour. We will have the game between the Ipswich Force and the Gold Coast Rollers coming up for you shortly. I do want to take this time to thank my co-commentator, Dan George, on the production panel, Regan Baker, on the camera, Chris Sieber, and of course, the Australian Sports Network and James Bowman for all their technical and graphic support. Thanks everyone for tuning in to another presentation of QBL Basketball by Nothing But Net Media.